Hey, Jeremy Hood here, founder of Restaurant Results Partners. And for those of you that don't know, we help restaurants make more money by increasing sales and profits. And today, I have a little pop quiz for you and wanted to ask, what's the biggest expense in running your restaurant? What's the biggest cost that you incur? Now, if I asked 100 people this, I'd venture to guess that a lot of them would probably say labor or rent or some other P&L line item. But today, I'm going to challenge that and say it's actually an empty seat. So I'm going to walk through a live example with one of some real numbers from one of our clients. And I'm sure you've probably heard that before, but if you think about it, it's just so true. I mean, like, how much money are you spending just to open your door every day, just to turn the lights on? It's quite a bit. So let's walk through these one by one, and I'll kind of show you where I'm coming from. So obviously, today we're talking about fixed costs, and I have labor on here and I'll talk about that in a second, but these fixed costs are things that you have to pay every month, just because you want to open your restaurant. You probably signed a lease, so you got to pay rent every month. Rent's due whether you do $1 in sales or $100,000 in sales. You're going to pay that rent cost. Utilities, they might fluctuate a little bit with volume, but nothing significant. You probably know how much you're spending on utilities each month. And besides just regular electric and water, I've got waste removal, grease trap service in here. Insurance, if you're in business in today's world, you got to have insurance. So we've got liability, workers' comp, auto. This customer does catering, so that's why the auto insurance is there. Now, labor, sure, labor is not a fixed cost, but there is some portion of labor that is fixed, because think about it. If you were so dead, you only had like 5 people walking in all day, like how many people would it take to serve those customers? Could you do it with 1, 2? For this restaurant, just because of the way it's set up, we've got 3 as a bare minimum for labor. But the cool thing about that is they can handle $0 in sales up to probably 1,500, maybe even 2,000, depending on how that was spaced out, before you start needing to add another person. So if you're operating a restaurant in today's times, you probably have some POS, some software that you're paying for, bookkeeping, a website. So I threw $500 on there for software. You probably have a phone. You need a way for the customers to contact you. You probably have some laundry expense, whether it's aprons, towels, linens for your tables, and there's probably a minimum order there as well. And then, of course, there's some licenses. So this isn't a completely exhaustive list, but, in reality, there's probably like a handful more of things that you're paying for. But just for simplicity and illustration point, you can see, just to open the doors, we're spending over $10,000 a month here at this restaurant. And they have about 42 seats, a smaller restaurant. And if you just divide that, they're actually, they're not open on Sundays, so divided by 26. If you're open every day of the month, just divide that by 30 or 31. So $400 a day you're spending, just open your doors. It's not a small amount. Divided by 42 seats, almost $10 a day per seat in this restaurant just to open. They're open for about 8 hours a day. So we got in there $1.21 per seat per hour this restaurant is spending just to turn the lights on, whether 10 people come in or 200, because that's the reality with the restaurant world. We hope that we're busy every day, but there's always ups and downs. Now, calculating break-even sales on this number, say their food costs around 35%. So we're going to divide their fixed cost per day divided by 1 minus their food cost. So this restaurant needs to do about $600 a day to break even, with 3 people running all day. If you do this exercise, I would encourage you to take your actual labor that you spent for an entire month, like last month or the most recent P&L that you have, and divide that by however many days there were in that month and put the actual number in here. So that gives you a picture of like not theoretical what your break even sales. That's like what you're actually running right now. So $600 is not a lot. And with their average tickets, fast casual, they serve breakfast and lunch. So average tickets around $10. They need about 62 people to walk in each day. So in reality, that shouldn't be too hard, but I know there are some restaurants out there that is their reality. Now, using the number of seats they have, so they need to fill up the dining room twice. If we're using whole numbers here, I know my math says 1.5, but if we're using whole numbers here, they need to fill up the dining room twice just to break even before they start making money. So if you think about it, can they do that twice in one day part? Can they do it twice for breakfast and twice for lunch? Can they only do it once for breakfast, once for lunch? So hopefully you can see where I'm getting at is the most expensive cost in running a restaurant is an empty seat, because all of these fixed costs, again, except for labor, but labor is minimum up to a certain point. So this, like I said before, these three people, they could probably handle at least $1,500 worth of sales, maybe closer to $1,800 before you start needing to add another person. So besides that, though, all of these other expenses are going to stay relatively the same. Maybe utilities go up a little bit if you're super busy, but this should really create a sense of urgency for you to fill these empty seats, because you're paying this $10,000 no matter what, whether you do $600 a day or $2,000 a day. So why wouldn't you want to try to do $2,000 a day? That's how you really scale your profits. So when we think about increasing profits, once you're already at break even if you have to spend some money on advertising or give a little bit of a discount, a deal to get people in the door, it's still adding more dollars into the cash drawer. So, say you were already at break-even sales, but you could spend a little bit of money and add another $500 in sales. But because you had to spend some money on advertising, because you had to give a little bit of a deal, your variable costs on those $500 are $250. Well, that's still an extra $250 in profits that you didn't have before. And I promise you, your labor hours, however many people you have in there, could probably handle an extra $500 in sales for the day. Depending on what your average ticket is, for this example, even though it was an extra 50 people spread out over 8 hours, that's only about 6 people per hour. So, when you kind of break it down like that, it seems a little more attainable. That's it for now. If you want more tips like this straight to your inbox, go ahead and head to our website. There's a little chat bubble down here. If you click on that in the menu button, just go ahead and click on subscribe to newsletter. It's going to ask for your email, and then you'll be all set. Thanks for watching.